There is an accusation that the Diablo 4 characters are being astroturfed, and people point out that if you go into the Diablo 4 forums, is people simping for Lilith and gushing about being inclusive character options, which is drawing out all the criticism towards Blizzard. It's not manipulative, it's straight up undisclosed marketing, since some are clearly paid without mentioning their affiliation to Blizzard. Then a bunch of people in the industry and other content producers jump on the trend to virtue signal and gain traction. Now that other people are involved in these hashtags, people aren't going to notice that they're being marketed to. It's unethical, and I'm sure the only reason why it's legal is that leaders are either not tech illiterate enough to understand what's happening or are being paid off. So the accusation is that Blizzard is paying people to cherish the inclusivity and their absolute dog shit character creation. I'm willing to believe that, and I will tell you why, okay? First of all, the overwhelming amount of people that are praising, I guess, like they're happy, like they're over the moon, overjoyed that the character creator is the way it is, are predominantly on the Blizzard forums. Like, you do not see those people on Twitter, you do not see them on the YouTube comment sections, you do not see them on 4chan, you do not see them on Reddit. It's almost exclusively to Blizzard, and a couple of them may be found on MMO Champion, right? So, all of a sudden, that's a red flag. But the other red flag that I have, and this is the reason that I'm genuinely leaning towards believing that it's astroturfing, is that you don't see any memes of the characters, right? Like, no one is showing these characters in social media, right? No one is using their avatar with these characters. No one is showing pictures of how happy they are with the characters. Like, take into account when Diablo 3 came out, like, there were a lot of people that, on Twitter, for example, they had their avatar, or on Discord, they had their avatar with their Diablo character. Like, they had a lot of personality, those characters, and a lot of people were proud with them. Same with Diablo 2. I mean, there were people just, at the time, you didn't have the internet, but I remember there were people that would invite you over to their house to show you their Diablo character. I don't see that happening now, despite the fact that there's over 350,000 people playing this game on Twitch, right? So, what I do think is going on is, yes, they are probably paid by Blizzard, or they are just in that community, and in order to maintain friends and relationships, they pretend that, oh yes, this is so inclusive, which is very interesting, right? Like, you're thinking about it, it's inclusive. Like, if that's the case, why can't my wife be included? Like, my wife cannot, for the love of her, make a character that looks like her, because she's a pretty woman, you know? She actually looks like a woman. She doesn't have, like, she's not oozing with toxic masculinity. She doesn't weigh 450 pounds. So she cannot make a character that looks like her in that. Where's the inclusivity, right? I mean, would it be that bad if you could create South Korean-like characters, but at the same time you could create your Californian abomination? But you can't, right? Like, that's interesting, isn't it? So, a lot of people are asking the question, like, so what if you can't create beautiful characters? Like, what's the point? And I will tell you the argument, right? Because I really thought about that. Like, why are people really upset with the character creator? And it robs the game of its character, right? Because, like, when you look at the aesthetics of Diablo 2, those characters were memorable. Like, everyone knows how the Barbarian from Diablo 2 looks like. Everyone knew how the Amazon from Diablo 2 looked like. Those characters were very memorable, and it created a connection with the game. It gave the game personality. Even Diablo 3 did that. The characters from Diablo 4 look like average people. They're the average Joe. They're like the people that you see on the street. And because of that, they're forgettable. You don't even remember them. I don't even know how my sorcerer looks like. I have absolutely no idea. I played with my sorcerer for a couple of hours in the beta. I do not know how he looks like, nor do I care. So what it does is, like, it removes the personality from the game, and it creates just another game where you move around and you click on the screen and you kill monsters. So it's like literally what I've been saying in my review. It's an average game, definitely not worth $70. Like, if this was a phone game that had a different name, you know, the Slayers of Lilith or whatever, most people would be like, oh yeah, I mean, it's an okay game. It's not something that you're probably going to play next year, but it's passable. right? So a lot of people are upset because this is supposed to be Diablo. It's supposed to be memorable. But again, when it like literally doesn't allow you to create an interesting character, and all the characters look average and like dog shit, well, this is what's happening, and this is why people are upset. It's not necessarily like the fact that you can't create sexy characters, right? Like it's not the fact that you can't create like hentai characters. The problem is that all the characters are dog shit. They look horrible. Like they're spawns of California. Even Lilith herself looks like a man. And I mean, like, Lilith would have benefited a lot if she was actually like a character from a South Korean MMO. Like, would have made it. Because again, like, the male lizard brain, you know, like when they see a beautiful woman, it goes into protect mode. And it creates this interesting dynamic where, yeah, like, the woman is very beautiful. However, she's evil as fuck. So now you have, like, this little conflict going on. It creates for interesting stories. But of course, you know, people from California have no idea how to create interesting stories. All they know is how to push their brand of politics. And I do have to point out that to some degree it's working. I mean, it seems that all of the people that are now simping for Blizzard completely ignore the fact that Blizzard has been accused of molesting their employees, of doing the worst business practices imaginable, of simping for China. All of that is washed away, right? Because they are now doing this type of marketing. Which, I gotta say, you know, like, hey, if it works, it works. And if it works, it means that it's probably going to be done in the future some more. Again, the problem with this level of marketing isn't that, like, the game is necessarily bad, but it's average, right? Like, the game could have been so much more. Like, if someone were to mod the game and put South Korean characters in it, I guarantee to you this game would just fly from, like, a 5 to a 7. There's also other problems with the game, like the music. Because I've been playing a little bit more, because I'm trying to figure out, right, how to make the best commentary on this game. The music isn't there. Like, when you play Diablo 1, that music, it sticks with you. You remember it, right? Like Diablo 2, same thing. Very memorable music. Diablo 3 even. Sure, you know, it didn't have the same music like Diablo 2, but it did had some parts where it had, like, really cool music, like as you're climbing up the spire and... Okay, this one doesn't. Like, this one is so... I don't even know how to put it. The world is so bland. It's like you're being moved from city to city, but you don't even get to speak with the people in those cities. You don't even get to know those people. So, I guess, you know, there is the possibility that later on in the game things may change. But, whatever. You know, again, my first review... I think is spot on. It's an average game, definitely not worth $70. It's much better than Diablo 3, but it has other flaws. And I've been told by someone else saying that the skill tree is made for children. It's like, motherfucker, it's 2023, you know? If you have, like, an elaborate skill tree, like Path of Exile, right? Path of Exile has, like, the skill tree that people like. How many people actually literally tinker with the skill tree in Path of Exile versus how many just go online and copy-paste a skill tree that's already made? Because I see that's what most people are doing, right? Like, in fact, they will say that if you want to play on hardcore and you're getting past a certain point in the game, the only way to play is to use the meta, which is like go online and use a cookie-cutter skill tree. I'm pretty sure there are some people that like to experiment, but those people die. It's the same with Magic the Gathering. It's the same with Hearthstone and other trading card games. Like, it gets to a point that due to the fact that there is internet, people just go online, they get the quote-unquote meta, and that's how they play. Like, it's not like back in the day when there was no internet and you had to experiment for yourself. No, it's not like that, right? So, I don't mind the fact that the skill tree in Diablo is the way it is. I know, like, some people do. I do like that in the beginning you get to choose, like, for example, if you're a sorcerer, right? Like, you get to choose, do you want to start with fire, electricity, lightning, ice, and you customize your character in that direction, and it allows you to do that from level 1. I kind of like that. I know that other people don't, you know, whatever, but I just wanted to address that criticism. Let me know what you guys think, though, and again, unless you're a rich sheik, or you can monetize the game by you know, making YouTube videos or playing competitively at the highest level in the next upcoming Diablo 4 esports, my advice is not to buy the game. Simply because it's way too expensive. Way too expensive, and it's an average game. I think Path of Exile 2 is going to be far better than it. Alright, so I'll see you guys. Take care.